Tank. Good evening, everybody. This is Drizzle, and this is Drizzle's Tank. Tonight, we are going to speak about epilepsy. Unfortunately, it's a silent disease that affects a lot of us. And unfortunately, many of us are drug resistant. There are many drugs on the market. I mean, everything from barbiturates, anticonvulsants. There's a lot. And realistically, they all have their ups and their downs. Some of these medications are a miracle. I mean, they save people every day. But then there's also the side effects. So many of us every day take these medicines that stop us from convulsing, but they create a slew of other problems. Inability to control our emotions, depression, anger. I mean, even while being inter and postictal, it's already hard enough to control emotions. And to take a medicine that saves you, that also causes problems, that's scary. That's scary. Myself, I've tried 9 different medicines at this point. Lord, can you bring me a water, please? I'm on medicine number 9. Every time we go to the doctor, we tell them, I'm allergic to a lot of things. I'm allergic to so much. And they argue with me. And I tell them, I would love to be able to take these medicines and have the desired results. But unfortunately, I've been one of the unlucky ones. So, let's see here. Right. So, what is medicine-resistant epilepsy? Not going to show me on here. There we go. Well, where I'm going to read from is a site called UpToDate. UpToDate is essentially a compilation of information from sites all over. I mean, the amount of information that's on there and how frequently it's updated is miraculous. The information you can find is very reliable. You're able to get on there and you're looking for one thing and start reading through something, you'll be like, oh, I wasn't expecting to read that. But now you get something else. And now it has the sources to show you where they got that information. So you're not just lost. You're not just guessing your way through this information. Can you go take care of them? The boys. This here that I'm about to read is the introduction to evaluation and management of drug-resistant epilepsy. It's a study that they've done They had it most recently updated on August 15th of 2022. So this is not old information. This is very, very new, very current, and very trustworthy. So what I'm about to read, it's a fairly short passage, so I'm not going to take too long, but this will give you a good idea of where a lot of us are at, especially if you're unaware. Because I mean, I'm hoping that this isn't just a place where people with epilepsy come. I hope people that are family and friends and coworkers and stuff can come and see this and understand, what we're going through. And so, allow me to stop. Patients with epilepsy whose seizures do not successfully respond to anti-seizure medication therapy are considered to have drug-resistant epilepsy, or DRE. This condition is also referred to as intractable, medically refractory, or pharmacoresistant epilepsy. As many as 20 to 40% of patients with epilepsy, roughly 400,000 people living in the United States, are likely to have refractory epilepsy. The annual cost for patients with epilepsy in the United States is estimated to be approximately $12.5 billion based on a 1995 survey. So, I mean, that's a bit out of time, but if in 1995 it cost $12.5 billion, I imagine it's higher today. So DRE contributes a substantive proportion of this cost. People with DRE have the greatest burden of epilepsy-related disabilities, further contributing to the scope of this problem. Because of the need to individualize therapy, no rigid set of guidelines can be applied to determine medical intractability. However, population-based studies have provided information regarding the prognosis of DRE that are helpful in making treatment decisions. Resective surgery therapy for epilepsy has the potential to eliminate seizures in many patients with localization-related DRE. This topic discusses the evaluation and approach to the management of individuals with DRE. Other issues regarding this evaluation and the treatment of individuals with seizures and epilepsy are presented separately. Okay, so this study is very long. It's not something I could read. This is something, if you were truly interested in figuring more out about this, this link will be available. It's a very long study. It has 146 primary sources. So I mean, it's got a lot of information. It'd take you a while to read the whole thing. I haven't, but I've read a lot of it, and there's some good stuff that has really helped me personally. I don't know what that means to anybody else, but there's a lot to ask of somebody that can't get their seizures under control. I mean, 15 years I've been trying, so it's like I said, it's daunting. That's really the only term that can explain how hard this is. So let's see here. So I'm going to read one more bit of this passage out of the introduction. It's from the definition. It says, a task force of the International League Against Epilepsy recommended replacing the term intractable with drug-resistant epilepsy, DRE, and proposed that drug-resistant be defined as a failure of adequate trials of two tolerated, appropriately chosen, and administered anti-seizure medications, whether as monotherapy or in combination to achieve seizure freedom. Traditionally, therapeutic failure of three anti-seizure medications defined intractability, drug resistance, With many newer anti-seizure medications available since the 1990s, it might have been expected that more rather than fewer drug trials would be recommended before determining drug resistance. However, several prospective case series have shown that high likelihood of medical drug resistance can be identified after 2 unsuccessful trials, as with each anti-seizure medication failure. The likelihood of successful treatment with other drugs diminishes. As an example, in one study, 1,098 adolescent and adult patients with a diagnosis of epilepsy were started de novo on anti-seizure medication treatment and followed up to 25 years, median of 7.5 years, I guess. So that they followed them for 25 years. Most of them were followed for about 7.5, though. With the anti-seizure medication trial, 49% became seizure-free. A second medication trial produced remission in an additional 13%, while only a further 4% became seizure-free on a third medication regimen. In this cohort, these patterns of anti-seizure medication responsiveness largely persisted over time. So essentially, they went through and they tested a lot of people, and they found, oh, well, some people worked with this. And the next people, oh, well, this worked for these people. And they get down the line and they get to a few others. And, 4% of them, 3 different drugs and nothing. And that means they tried 3 different types of drugs. That wasn't they took 3 of the same kind of drug. They didn't take like 3 Valiums or something. No, they tried multiple types. One thing that we've learned about me over the years is that the medications don't usually help me, but I can't go sans medicine. I got to have something, some sort of emergency medicine, just in case, things just get too far out of hand. I've never had a seizure that's lasted more than probably 3-4 minutes. No. Okay, verified.
Probably less, a little bit over a minute.
So
4 minutes is a long time.
Okay, so mine have only been really like a minute and a half, where I'm really truly in full tonic colonic, flopping around and such. But I'll just keep having them. I'll just continue to have them.
And that's called being, when you're in that roundabout phase of continuing to have seizures. What is it called?
Unless you got the word, don't speak up, huh?
Well, I thought you were going to finish my sentence.
No, I can't review me with my memory. The downside is I've had so many seizures lately that my memory and stuff is starting to get a little shaky. People used to call me the human dictionary, the human radio. I could remember the word to every song on the radio. I knew words that people didn't even think were words. I got in trouble a lot as a kid, so they used to make me write out the dictionary when I'd run out of homework to do. So I mean,
yeah, I've got the appropriate definition.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so if somebody's having seizures within a 24-hour period of 2 or more disruptive seizures, like saying that they're unconscious, then they're considered to be what is it called? I just thought of the word and now it left my brain again. Status epilepticus is when you are basically in a seizure cycle and you can't get out of it. So that's when you need to go to the hospital and get some type of serious medication intervention.
Yeah.
Which is usually what happens for you. We end up at the emergency room.
Yeah, I end up at the emergency room
to get some type of medication.
Like Ativan or something.
They usually give a cocktail of medication.
Yeah, they give me a pile of stuff to just basically shut everything off and just, I guess, get me back to a place where where my brain can start functioning properly again. Because when I come out of it, I'm rough. I'm rough. I get violent sometimes, and it's not how I like to be. That's not me. I mean, it's scary. I mean, truly, it's scary. And so as a drug resistant epileptic, I've had to find alternative things to help me. One of the biggest things was turning to a ketogenic diet. Essentially, I eat meat and vegetables, so basically a paleo diet where I limit my carbohydrate intake I try to keep it to 50 grams and below of carbohydrates every day. And my brain can process the fats. But as soon as I start putting processed sugars and weird metals that are in baking powders and it's just all these inert ingredients that come along with all these products these days, all these things that don't belong in there. Titanium dioxide. It's literally a white product that some guy found on his property down in Texas, and now they stuff it in everything. I don't even think I don't think it really has any purpose other than it turns things white. And so we're eating metal. As epileptics, that goes right to your brain and blocks neurological firing. It messes up your brain. And it's like, I didn't know any of that stuff. Nobody ever explained that to me at the doctor's office. I had to learn that through 15 years of being an epileptic. Being somebody that doesn't take medication other than emergency medication, I guess I'm trying to say that. I guess I'm scared because there's only a few other things left that can help me. There's only a few things that allow me to feel confident that I'm going to make it. And that's hard to handle. I had a doctor visit with my neurological doctor this week. She says to me, she goes, "Drew, you gotta get this figured out. You're gonna die." I'm 36 years old. Do you know how hard it is to hear? You got to get this under control or you're going to die. What? I'm one of the healthiest people I know. I know people that go to the gym that can't keep up with me. And I'm stopped by something I have fully out of my control. 100% out of my control. I wish there was something that I could do myself. And accepting that there's not is one of the hardest parts.
But see, that's not without hope. So
I understand. I'm just saying that where it goes from here is surgery.
There's a few other medications you have.
There's a few other medications, and I mean,
I'm curious about the
Epidiolex that they absolutely will not let me try because
they keep saying that he can't try Epidiolex for some reason, even though it's the FDA approved CBD Doesn't have any of the weird hocus pocus crap in it.
Yeah.
And so it's real deal CBD pills.
So they won't let me try it. I'm not sure exactly why.
I'm curious.
The next step that they had for me was the responsive nerve stimulator.
No, they said VNS first.
Well, yeah, they said. I guess they did say VNS first.
VNS was the first option.
Mainly because I have generalized epilepsy. They can't figure out what's wrong. I basically just have seizures, and that's that. Good luck. That's weird. So when they kept talking about, hey man, we're gonna have to do brain surgery, possibly. What? Me? Brain surgery? For what? Or shaking a little bit. I've had Tourette's my whole life. I shake all the time. Got weird spasms. I used to get in trouble in school all the time because my legs would always be shaking. They'd be like, and like as if I was wanted to. So for the last year, I spent the last year going through the motions at Duke to see if the responsive nerve stimulator was going to be my solution. It didn't go over very well. But we now know that I don't qualify for it. I have seizures in too many parts of my brain. I have too many weird things going on. So I don't have that option. I don't have that option. So now we're back to the vagus nerve stimulator. And I look into the studies and I see people say, well, it's changed my life. I don't have seizures anymore. And then I talk to other people and they say, it helped, but I'm still having seizures. I don't feel like it was worth it. Like, not worth it. That's a fucking answer I can't take.
How many people have said that to you? A lot?
A few, not very many. It's been, I'll tell you, when it comes down to it, the majority of the people I've talked to that got the vagus nerve stimulator, like, it was so simple and so fast, and
made such a dramatic
and it
impact.
made such a dramatic impact. But they said it didn't happen right away. It didn't happen right away. They said it. Some of these people said it took fucking 2 years before they saw results, so they could figure out when to shock and where to shock.
Wait, you talking about the vagus?
The vagus.
The vagus shocks the vagus nerve, Drew. It doesn't shock.
Don't give a shit. Go read the studies, my dear.
Okay, I don't.
I don't know what to tell you. That's why I was shocked. I was shocked. And so right now I've got 2 videos. One of them is about the RNS, and it's the information that the company sent to me when it was thought that I might need their product. It's like 12 videos, but I'm only going to play the one. Basically just introduces what it is, just to let people have an idea. So this here is a responsive nerve responsive nerve stimulation by NeuroPace. This link will also be available. It'll bring you to those other 11 links. Most of the videos are 2 to 10 minutes. Some of them are like 30, 40 minutes. So you got to prepare yourself. Be ready. This here, though, This is 2 minutes. I promise. Listen hard. It's very interesting. Go ahead.
The RNS system is the world's first and only brain-responsive neurostimulation system. It's an exciting, safe, and effective treatment for drug-resistant epilepsy for individuals 18 and older who have focal seizures that start in 1 or 2 locations in the brain. It has leads, which are tiny wires with electrodes that are placed at the seizure focus or foci in the brain. The leads are connected to a neurostimulator that is placed flush with the skull under the scalp. The neurostimulator is a small battery-powered device that is programmed by a doctor to deliver brief pulses of stimulation to the brain when it's needed. The RNS system is designed to prevent seizures at their source. It can monitor brainwaves, detect unusual activity, and respond in real time. The RNS system constantly monitors your brainwaves. It works all the time, even while you're sleeping. The device is personalized by your doctor to recognize the electrical patterns specific to your brain that may lead to a seizure. Within milliseconds of detecting unusual brain activity, the RNS system sends brief pulses of electrical stimulation to normalize your brainwaves, often before seizure symptoms start. You can share information with your doctor by collecting data from the neurostimulator and sending it to a secure database. This helps your doctor see what's happening in your brain and fine-tune the device to better control your seizures. In long-term clinical trials, patients experienced meaningful seizure reduction and significant quality of life improvements. For more information, talk to your doctor and visit neuropace.com.
I'm sure you're all going to read that all in this brief 8 seconds. So that's the general idea of the RNS. They basically cut a flap off your head, cut a gap into your skull, run a few wires to where your focal seizures begin, and it reads them through time like an EEG and a heart rate monitor, and it learns you. And it lasts 7 years, the one battery. And then after 7 years, you go back and they replace the battery. And it goes back in and they make any upgrades that they've come to since the last time. And a lot of people have almost no seizures after this. Almost 0 seizures. That's incredible. But it also is not 100%. Even once they got that thing fine-tuned, there's still risk. So you have to be able to determine your specific scenario, because everybody's different. Everybody's different. What works for you might not work for me. And that sucks. That's got to make it tough on a doctor. I mean, just honestly, that's got to be tough. The next thing we're going to talk about right now is the vagal nerve stimulator. You have what's called the vagus nerve, runs from your brain down to your stomach. It controls most of the brain. I mean, it stops the main flow or something. It's a very important part of your body. It it controls your stomach, which a lot of people don't recognize the fact that your stomach controls a lot of your body, like your brain. It's like a second brain in your gut. It tells your other organs what they're supposed to be doing. Hey, I just ate this. It's this type of thing. I'm going to send this over to you. You process it. And you get rid of the waste. Poop on. That's your stomach. And your vagal nerve controls that. After a year of going through the motions, trying to find out if the responsive nerve stimulator was the correct answer, it's starting to become quite clear that the vagal nerve stimulator is probably my most reasonable solution. I don't get full when I eat. I don't get full. I'm not a very big guy. People watch me eat and they, where does it go? I don't know. I don't know. I never really feel hungry, and I never really feel full. I never really feel tired. I also have most of my seizures at nighttime during REM sleep. I got to be honest. Lord Spike, how do I deal with my anger? Not well. Because most of the time, I try to just be in a really good mood. And then I kind of fall off. And it takes a little bit of work to get me back to and honestly, I don't know if I would be able to deal with my anger if it wasn't for my wife. She's far more cool-headed than I am, far more patient. And when I start to get aggressive, she usually is the only thing that will slow me down. And if she doesn't slow me down, then nothing's gonna. And that's kind of scary. Especially after seizures. Because I mean, when I'm post-ictal, I don't know what I'm doing. And like I wake up, I just, and I've had some things that have happened to me in my life from people of authority, you know, people with a badge on, that when I wake up sometimes from a seizure, I attack. Whoever has the badge in front of me. And if my wife isn't standing there to go, Drew, relax, I attack them. And I'm not attacking them. I'm not actually attacking. I'm just I was trying to get back to reality. I don't even know what's going on. I'm not even conscious, basically. That's scary. to wake up and realize that you've just hurt somebody. That's scary. That's why it's so important at this point for me to find a solution. Like this vagal nerve stimulator, it could be my answer.
I think you're not giving it as much credit as you should.
I just also
it's been around for a while.
I know, and
I'm reading it here. Okay, so I'm on an article.
Well, hold on. I've got a video. We've got a video over here. How about this? We'll go ahead and pull up the vagal nerve stimulator video. That
I was just gonna say you could read that sentence because it basically sums up what you're saying.
Oh, okay. I see. The vagus nerve is responsible for the regulation of the internal organ functions such as digestion, heart rate, respiratory rate, as well as the vasomotor activity and certain reflex actions such as coughing, sneezing, swallowing, vomiting. Its activation leads to the release of acetylcholine at the synaptic junction with screening cells, intrinsic nervous fibers, and smooth muscles.
At that point.
It binds to nicotinic. Oh, wow. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I'm not going to waste my time.
It's really deep, but that first sentence is interesting because it does a lot of important actions in your body.
Yeah, sure does. So go ahead and pull up that second video.
I only have one video that you emailed us. Just that one that I already played.
And then open up that email right there. There's RNS versus VNS. There's YouTube link 1 and YouTube link 2. Right there in that email.
Steve, do you see the second link here?
All I saw was that email.
I only have one.
Post it in the chat.
Okay, so should I post it in the StreamYard chat or in the regular chat for you to be able to find it?
If you put it in the StreamYard private chat, then I can grab it right from there.
Okay. That should be it. Hope so. This is the second link. I think it is. I believe that's the right one. My dad and grandfather were both assholes. I mean, realistically, my mom, sweet as honey. Dad was an asshole. Not even another word for it. I mean,
your dad?
Yes, I just always have to be careful of trying to control my anger. I always have to make sure that
Sounds like you were a lot like your grandfather on your dad's side.
Yeah, my grandfather. Everybody tells stories about my grandfather. He was a fly fisherman with an attitude that he'd scream so loud that they would hear him all the way back at the house. He was like a half a mile away. You'd hear him screaming down at the creek.
Fishing, screaming,
like holy cow!
Line stuck in the trees.
Yeah, like holy cow! It's like he just was reborn into me.
Right.
Just me
skipped a generation.
Yeah, just skip. My dad was just too lazy to go fishing. All right, so this is just essentially a good overview of the vagal nerve stimulator therapy. This is more broad. This is more of a broad topic. I don't know, but it's very important information. So.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I have seizures. Some people call them episodes or events. I've always worked closely with my doctor to help keep my seizures under control, but meds just weren't getting the job done. We tried a lot of medicines, but they didn't work, or the side effects were just too much, and I was still having seizures. My doctor told me that I might have hard-to-treat seizures, also known as drug-resistant epilepsy. 1 out of 3 people with seizures is like me. My doctor told me there are other options for me and recommended VNS therapy. VNS therapy is a proven long-term solution for uncontrolled seizures, already being used by more than 85,000 people around the world. VNS therapy is not another pill, but a small device implanted during a short outpatient procedure. It provided me the control I was looking for. Now I have fewer seizures. And I'm enjoying life a lot more. VNS therapy is perfect for me. I'm so glad my doctor recommended it.
VNS therapy is designed specifically for people living with uncontrolled seizures. The goal of VNS therapy is to prevent seizures before they start and stop them if they do. How? Through the use of a small device implanted during a short outpatient procedure that usually has you home the same day. The VNS therapy device sends mild pulses to areas of the brain that are associated with seizures. These pulses are delivered at regular intervals all day, every day. If you have a breakthrough seizure with VNS therapy, an additional dose of therapy may stop or shorten your seizure, decrease its intensity, and/or shorten your recovery time. VNS therapy offers you 2 ways to deliver an extra dose of therapy. First is the Detect and Respond feature, the latest advancement in VNS therapy. It detects a rapid rise in heart rate, which is often associated with the start of a seizure. The device responds by delivering an extra dose of therapy. In many cases, this can stop a seizure. Another way is with the VNS therapy magnet. This feature allows patients and caregivers to manually deliver an additional dose of therapy when a seizure is about to start, or if it has already started. Most of my patients are looking for better seizure management, and with it, a better quality of life.
When patients ask me what they can expect from VNS therapy, I tell them that many of my patients say their lives are so much better. What makes them better? Let's take a look at some of the benefits of VNS therapy. Many people experience fewer seizures than they did before VNS therapy. The seizures they do have are often shorter and less severe. With VNS therapy, my patients tell me recovery time after a seizure is usually much shorter, giving them valuable time back in their day. As an added plus with VNS therapy, people often need fewer medications, which means fewer drug-related side effects. People using VNS therapy have reported other improvements as well. Some say their memory is better and they feel more alert. Even their mood is improved. With these benefits and a number of others, it's not surprising that most people using VNS therapy have chosen to continue it long-term. Its benefits tend to improve over time, unlike those of medications. Individual results may vary. Common side effects include hoarseness or changes in voice tone, prickling feeling in the skin, shortness of breath, sore throat, and coughing. So why wait? See what improvements may be ahead for you with VNS therapy. You don't have to take my word for it. Take a few minutes to learn from real patients, caregivers, and doctors. See how VNS therapy has changed the lives of many people just like you.
I am the drizzle. All right. And I mean, that is a very, very informative video. When I first went out looking for information, I came across a lot of stuff for VNS. RNS, not so much. RNS, it's
Gotta be pretty
you
bad.
gotta be in pretty rough shape, and they gotta be willing to put you where they do those types of surgeries. It took me 6 years to get into Duke.
Took you about a month to get
And it took me all of 2 months to get kicked out. But we did learn a lot. We researched more than most of the doctors. I can tell you that. I don't care if the people there are the greatest in the world. If you don't keep up on the research, you're no better.
I think they're well read, but I think they just don't have enough time. Is what they came down to. He didn't seem like he had enough time to even see you.
Yeah, I mean, it
You need a doctor who's going to be willing to talk to you.
he was away in other countries. I lucked out the time I got to see him. Now, though, Duke is not where that would happen. The hospital here in town, they don't give me the confidence that I need to let somebody cut into me. I've had my wisdom teeth removed. I've had my appendix removed. But my
your vagus nerve is stimulating.
My vagus nerve is a little just stimulated right there, a little tummy grumble. It's wild to me. I won't lie. I truly feel like it could be the solution for me. And I know it's been the solution for a lot of people. And after years of trying medication after medication with such horrible results, I'm almost willing to try anything.
I mean, you're the guy that jumps off 50-foot cliffs.
Yeah,
and
50.
risks his life every other day.
Yeah, I'm the risk guy.
Literally had to stop him from climbing up the Harris teeter on the way home.
Yeah,
as we ate dinner.
they built a new Harris teeter, so I climbed the pole and did pull-ups onto the roof, and then climbed back down.
This is the stuff I have to put up with.
That's what I do, and that's. I haven't been able to leave the house for like a couple of weeks because I've been on different medications and haven't been able to stop having seizures.
Yeah.
We leave the house. I go nuts. I just want to go have fun. I just want to go play. I just want to. I'm like a big kid. I'm like a big kid. And right now, not being able to work, not being able to drive, not being allowed to be alone with my kids because they're too young.
Alone by yourself right now.
I can't really be by myself. Anything for fun. Anything for fun.
I think your cliff jumping days are over though.
Yeah, I don't do much cliff jumping anymore. It's unfortunate.
You have to share some of those videos sometime with your fans.
Yeah, somebody up in Vermont
doing.
The
one when you're really heavy too.
Oh yeah. When I was still 235 pounds and jumping off of cliffs.
Yeah, doing
add 100 pounds to me and jump off 60, 70 foot cliffs and you see his flash.
I'll tell the story about the American girl with the baby.
Oh goodness gracious.
That's a good story.
Well, one day we were in Vermont. I was bringing La there. At the time, I was still a drinker. And there is a section at, it's called
Lake-
Green Dump at Lake
Lake
Bombazine. And it's right across the road from the lake. And they dug it out. They dug out the quarry. And then they dug it down. And then they just drilled over to the lake. And then it refilled up with water. So it's very deep. You'll never hit bottom. It goes up. It has a little cavern. It goes like 20-some feet. 49 feet, then it goes up again, and it goes up to like 70-some feet, and then it gets up to like 100 feet, and then there's a tree. And then you can climb the tree up to like 125 feet. It's wild. I was standing at 49. Girl walks over the top, her and her friends. I can't really see them. I had a couple drinks. I said, hey, American flag bathing suit. I was like, come and jump for glory. Jump for America. Yeah. They get over there, they're little kids. I'm like, oh crap. Like, oh shoot. Like, and the little girl, she's like 16. So she's not a baby or anything. And I was only like 23, 24. So it's not like I was an old man, but it was still weird. So I was like, uh-oh, crap. She's like, I'll do it. I'm like, oh no, and she's gonna actually do it. Crap. So she's like, but you have to sit in the water and wait for me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Jump, yeah.
So I jump. I've been jumping all day. I've been doing flips off. I don't care. She jumps. Woo! Smack. She goes down like 15 feet. I swim down, pull her up, use her shoe to paddle her to the side, and it's a cliff. You can't even climb out. There's no stairs. And so now everybody's got to help me pull her up out. She's bawling. The entire side of her body is red. I'm like, well, we're going to jail. Awesome. Fantastic. I just convinced this little girl to kill herself. Awesome. And so we
found out after the fact that she was only 12.
Well, no, she was 14.
Oh.
She was 14, but
Still,
it was like, oh no, that
but
was
the story doesn't end there.
Yeah, so we go back out a couple of weeks later.
It was like a few months later.
No, it was only a couple of weeks. It's only a couple of weeks later. We go back out. We go to the same place. All of a sudden, she starts walking back over. I said, no way. I said, tell me you come back. She's like, I couldn't let that be how it went down.
She did say her whole entire side of her body was bruised.
She was purple for a week. As soon as she stopped being purple, she said she went back and she jumped again. And she was there to jump again that day, and she did. I was impressed. I was truly impressed because she hit hard.
50 feet, like you don't realize
Yeah,
how big.
You don't know how far of a drop that is until you hear a body go.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. When I swam down and grabbed her, when I pulled her up, she was just the breath that was coming out of her body was insane. One of the scariest things I've ever seen. And I was so glad that she was okay. And so it's a good thing I don't drink anymore. Well, so let me make sure I got it right here. So we're going to take a little break. I'm going to play a song. And I believe, do you guys have the song? Or do you need me to send that link as well?
What song were you looking for?
I've got a song here that
Do you want to just put the link in the private chat?
yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
Too much nippies.
Heck yeah. That was so good.
Did you tell
I-
everybody about how we went to nippies today?
Oh, no, but man, I ate so many chitlins. Oh, my goodness.
There's a soul food place where we live here in North Carolina that we found recently, and they have
A buffet.
they have
on
a
the
buffet
weekend.
on Saturdays and Sundays, so that's our spot.
My new,
Go get some soul food.
my new love. All right, and you can just go ahead and just pull that up to full screen. I'm gonna go grab some things real quick. All right. Okay. Well, fantastic. I hope everybody enjoyed that. That was a self-made track. I've I guess started a new habit of, if I can't work, doing contracting, climbing roofs and going in crawl spaces and crawling in between walls and floors like a weirdo like me would. I've had to find new things to do. And luckily, I found some new friends that don't mind how silly I am and are into music. Because I have now found a new thing. And luckily for me, I can do it even with my affliction. I can make music sick, it turns out. And I really love it. It's funny. I never once had dreams of grandeur. I never once have thought, wow, I'm going to make some songs and I'm going to become famous. Because I can assure you, one of the last things I ever felt like being was famous. But now I'm getting messages from YouTube and band labs of it, upgrading my profile. Here, you now can do this. And I really enjoy it. And now somebody's telling me that if I keep working hard at it, it could be a thing. That's cool. But I'm pretty boring outside of that. And I don't know if anybody has stuck around to join in.
You want me to talk about the clinical trial stuff?
You know, that's where I'm thinking here. So now, Lucky, have we had anybody come in and be interested in talking? It's fine.
I think we're only at 5 viewers right now, Drew.
All right.
A couple people had to leave. The guinea
A
pig.
guinea pig sounds like it's dying. Sounds like it might be hitting its final days.
No, she's just talking.
That is not a talk, Laura. We've had that thing for years. That's a that sounds desperate. Shit. Oh my goodness, the poor thing.
Bad.
Oh, poor little princess. Oh, she is so sweet. I've owned many guinea pigs. She's the sweetest one I've ever owned. She's never bit me. She's sweet, loves attention. It's very cool. Lets me put weird costumes on her, and she's great. So, one thing that is
There's Hammer. Say hi.
I ain't using this one for animal testing, I can assure you.
Aw. Now you're a YouTube star, Hammer.
Yay, I'm a YouTube
Congratulations.
star, baby. Hi, baby. So, we definitely have a little bit more time to fill. And what we have in store for you next, there are a lot of studies done across the country regularly. Let's see. Let's pull this one up here real quick. Okay. So the studies are available to basically anyone. They're public studies. I take everything with a grain of salt. Every time we read these studies, I look at who's behind the study. What do they have to gain from the study? Is there a profit motive behind the study that could skew the results? Because statistics are whatever you want them to be. I learned that in business school. Businesses will skew a number any way they want to be able to get a bank to give them the money that they need. And unfortunately for us, the people who run the banks are the same people who run the pharmaceutical companies, are the same people who run everything. The farming industry. They run them all. And so it's hard to trust a company that has their name on the drug as well as the research. And so you have to take everything with a grain of salt. You can't assume that everything that you read is fact. It could have been published yesterday. And unfortunately, in this day and age, that doesn't mean a thing. You still have to branch out and continue your research. When I was in college and I had to do reports, you had to do a minimum of 5 sources. You had to prove what you were saying, even if it didn't mean shit besides your grade. Didn't affect anybody else. It's not like they were going to publish your writing. But you have to be right. Unfortunately, that's not the same in media, it seems. It doesn't seem to be the case in all these studies. Sometimes they decide which information they want to put in and which information they want to put out. to guarantee the result that they need. So it's hard, especially as somebody who's resistant to drugs.
I think what you're saying is true, but in the same sense that you need to have, you still need to have medication. And if it does have a good effect on some people.
Well, let me continue. So don't get me wrong. I don't want to steer anybody away from thinking that we shouldn't research things, because we need to make advancements in pharmaceuticals and farming and education. You have to perform studies. You have to do polls. You have to try things. You have to try things. And so right now, to my left here, Miss Lala, who is a wealth of information of this stuff in comparison to myself, is going to be my first guest. Luckily, I know her, because the information she's going to give right now is vital. So please give her attention. The floor is to you, my dear.
She's at?
Hit my face.
Hey, everybody. It's me. Sorry, you got a crotch shot there. Drew has the computer set up really oddly. I would never set my computer up like this. So like Drew was saying,
Just like you're talking to me, Laura.
What he was talking about was the fact that, drugs. And I don't know. I think I have a difference of opinion than you when it comes to that, because
I know you definitely. That's
right,
why I want to hear your opinion.
Let me start by giving you guys a little bit of my background. I have a bachelor's degree in clinical research from the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. I work for a clinical research company. I don't want to give the name, but basically what I do, I help assist in running clinical trials. So my perspective is that of the CEOs and the big business corporations. But I also understand that, take everything with a grain of salt. Don't go and trust everything that your doctor says. I don't believe that. I think even being a researcher, I go and do my own research on a daily basis on things that I put in my body and consume almost every day. So, I don't trust everything that the government puts out. And sometimes people are wrong. Do I think that people are doing things for the greater good of society? Yeah. I think that people are trying to help and, better society with medication. At the same time, it is a profit. It is for business. So with that, I would just say, be your own advocate. Luckily, Drew has me, so I can do research on things that, that he can't. So, but there are public domains for people to go and get information. So that's kind of why I wanted to share, was I wanted everybody to know about that. There are websites where you can go and get health information from primary sources.
Go ahead and open up the page, the link up here.
Okay.
Open it up, copy that link, put it into the private chat there in the yard chat, and then that can be available for everybody to see, because it really is. It's very important for people to understand that information is available at all times.
Yeah, basically when you open up a pamphlet of your medication, all that information that goes into that pamphlet is what I assist in basically developing. When it comes to the pharmacokinetics, to the statistics, to just the, boots on the ground research, going into the clinic, like we're all of those things. So, we're not the bad guys and all of that, but we do have our opinions. So, yeah. But anyways, here's the website. I'll post this in the private chat for you, Lucky. Here's the website for clinicaltrials.gov, and it's countrywide. I mean, you can search throughout the world if you wanted to go to a different country, but you can type in the condition. So, for instance, I type in epilepsy. I can put in parameters for US. For instance, I type in epilepsy. And then I'm going to put the state, because obviously we live in North Carolina. So basically you can get onto the epilepsy the clinicaltrials.gov website and look up information about different indications, medical conditions that you can participate in trials and not only receive free healthcare, but basically get a whole healthcare team, most likely, depending on what medical problem you have. But that was just one thing I wanted to share, is that clinical research is a healthcare option. Not a lot of people think about it as one, but it's something that I've actually been looking into for Drew, to just try and find a study, maybe one in our area. I've looked into a few, and there's a few behavioral health studies going on right now. I'm kind of curious to
let them know where we're headed if we don't find something close.
Yeah. So right now our next step is we're headed down to Florida. So that's
Mayo Clinic.
We'll be going to the Mayo Clinic in Florida next. So just trying to do my own research and figure out what's going on. And this is like the best up-to-date thing to do, is just go on the clinicaltrials.gov website and, look up a trial. If you have a condition and it's not epilepsy, maybe you have, a skin condition. I have eczema. So, like I could look up an eczema study, and if I were curious about doing something like that, I could do something like that. So, I posted in the chat. I don't know if you got that, Lucky, but feel free, look it up. It's pretty cool. I mean, you can even look up old studies on here. So it'll show the status of the study. Like right here, it says not yet recruiting, enrolling, suspended, terminated, and it'll give reasons. So then you can go and you can do your own research. And I don't know, I could go down a million rabbit holes with this topic. So, but yeah, that's one of the available. And then there's always the FDA website, which can be kind of confusing. When I was in school, I used to have to practice using the FDA website. What? Oh, here's Callie. Just because it is kind of complicated, and I do think they make it rather difficult to navigate. So, of course, this is bringing me to a fake page.
Oh goodness.
But yeah, there's also the FDA website, which everybody hates the FDA right now, but also a good primary source for information. I would just make sure when you're getting information from the FDA website, make sure it's recent, and then make sure you read at the bottom who posted it. I like to look on here occasionally and look up stuff on FDA, just because part of my job is I have to stay on top of the principles and guidelines that we follow. And a lot of those, I mean, it's that the basic footwork for clinical trials is mapped out on the FDA website. So if you're ever curious on how clinical trials are ran, or they have like summary pages and stuff on FDA. So, I mean, they are the government, so take everything with a grain of salt, do your own research, maybe go back to some other pages. But yeah, there's a couple of sources there in case you guys are curious about different ways to maybe find some treatment options for other indications, or, you know, if you're just looking to do some research on something and you're curious about a disease. I mean, I do that all the time. So thanks, guys.
All right. Well, fantastic. See, and that's why I had her explain it instead of me.
Oh, whoa. You showed a kitty and you didn't show kitty toe beans, and there's a violation for that.
Kitty, what?
Toe beans.
Kill beans.
Where are they? Where are the kitty? Where's she at? There's so many. There's so many of them running around. It's crazy. They are. Yeah, luckily she's a lot prettier than I am too. So it works out.
Yeah, I should have been holding a cat the whole time. Sorry, guys. There's Callie.
Callie Kapowski.
She's really hard to hold. She doesn't.
Yeah,
like
she
to
does
sit
not
still.
like to get held, and she likes to fart.
Yeah, she gets nervous when I hold her and she starts farting. But she's really cute. She's like the most playful one, I think, out of all three of them.
She's the one that online everybody's a fan of Callie. Yeah, everybody's a fan of Callie.
All the Asian people love her.
Well, so let's shut this off real quick.
Who's that?
No. He's a little more worthy of the hold.
He was sleeping, so he's pretty calm.
He smells like a cat fart.
He
Pu.
just smells like spit. See, you smell like you've been getting licked by your brother or your sister, huh? What are you doing, Winnie? What are you guys doing?
All right.
See, he'll tolerate with me sitting here as long as I'm just holding him like this. But as soon as I start to move, he's like, I'm done. He's like, I don't want to keep
Game
going.
on. All right.
Frankie. Somehow Frankie's the favorite. Oh, there's Frankie. Frankie's like, I want help. I want to say hi to the YouTube fans. Hey, Frankie.
All right.
Boop, boop.
Well, thank you everybody for coming for sure. I'm gonna play another song real quick just to keep the mood light. We don't want to get to a point where this isn't about optimal.
Stop it.
The point of this is really for people to come and feel comfortable to talk. I mean, I'm just a guy. I'm nobody special. I'm just somebody willing to listen. I'm not necessarily here to give advice. I can tell you things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I have the answers.
What's up, Zach?
So, like I said, let's keep things light. Here's a song I wrote the other day. It's called What Kind of Attitude Is That? And even in the description, I wrote, better get it under control. Because sometimes I have trouble keeping myself under control. So, this was my song to control myself.
Seems to really be working.
And it working really well. I've really Almost more funny than spooky. That's funny. Well, I'll try not to die. And we'll be buddies for longer. I'll just take place. Wow. Let me pull up my next piece here. Oh. Oh. Whew.
They know they did, but they won't tell them. That sucks. Because then they're going to get sued. That's why. Where's your body, Drew? Look at Frankie. What are you doing, bud?
I will literally give this lady the opportunity. So, a bit of a curveball. I spend a lot of the days recently in support groups online. I didn't know where else to turn. I felt so defeated recently that I went out searching. I had already been in a few, but they kind of, when I would get into them, would almost make me more fearful. I would go in and I'd read things, and instead of it giving me positivity, hope, it was a lot of people talking about how things aren't working out. So, unfortunately, that's still the case. That's one of the main reasons I did this. And so I was just given a response to a comment I had earlier in one of these groups where somebody had had a surgery. And during that surgery, a nerve was hit. And now they have a lazy eye. And they were not warned that that was a risk. And they're not happy. That's scary. So I just gave that person a response, and if they were interested, that I'd let them come talk about it. I hope to hear from them.
Yeah, that would be cool to have them on.
Give them their voice.
Yeah.
Give them their voice. Because if that's really what happened, that's horrific. But that's a risk we have to take, you know. Is it a matter of risk for reward? Did the benefits outweigh the issues?
Maybe it's still worth it for that person.
I mean, what would this person is having a lazy eye eventually?
That's something you can correct as well. So
if that's something that can be fixed, will it be able to be fixed? And so I'm really hoping that this becomes a place for people. Not even necessarily a place for me. It'd be cool to have other hosts. Maybe some professionals. I began reaching out to therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, neurologists. I started reaching out. This is week 2. And it's not a strong showing. But there are people here. And there are 66 separate views, separate people viewed last week's stream. I'm going to post this one everywhere again this week. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that in due time, things will pick up. And if not, I'm going to make sure to give a lot of good information. And the time that I do get to spend doing this. Because I really feel this is important. I really feel like there's a lot of people out there that their voice isn't being heard. And they're scared like me. I'm a professional epileptic. Give me a moment. Oh,
Partially.
little vocal. Oh, shit. So occasionally I have focal seizures. And I'm really good at pretending they're not happening at this point. Sometimes I can talk myself out of them. Sometimes they go from simple to complex. And I wouldn't be able to respond right now. The simple focals, I get focused and I that I get weird twitches and blinks, and I didn't have those before. I've started having a lot more seizures lately. And so this is new. I used to get deja vu. I used to get dizzy spells.
Fainting episodes or whatever.
Like I felt like I was going to faint. I'd start to sweat. I get tunnel vision. Whoa. I start sweating. Sweat pours down my face. I start drooling. I try to talk. I can keep myself from going completely gone sometimes. I can relate to that, man.
I don't know if yours is considered like a personality disorder or.
I have personality disorder for sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, bipolar, ADHD, epileptic.
We have a smoke detector battery.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't even notice that.
It's been doing that.
Oh, it's the one in the kids' room.
Yeah. It's, yeah. Good. It's plugged into the ceiling, so good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a tough one, Miles. It really is. Like this morning, I hadn't slept well for the past few days. I'm not sure if anybody was privy to my panic attack turn nervous breakdown
Video.
a couple days ago. But I want people to understand where I was at, why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this for credit or fame. I've never dreamed of being the center of attention. I really want to help people. I really want to help people. This morning, I was so tired when I woke up because I hadn't slept well that I knew I was starting to have a seizure. And so when I started to wake up, Laura had already noticed, which has become tough. She began to notice, so she pulled out my new. She's had to shove Ativan in my butt for years when I start having too many seizures. All along, they've had a spray. They said it's fairly new. It is fairly new. But now they have a spray they can shoot up your nose. Does the same thing. Now she's sitting by the wayside ready to go. She just wants to see how well it works as much as I do. But at the same time, I hate taking the medicines because that's the end of the day. That's the end of the day. So when I woke up, I talked myself out of a seizure. I don't know if some doctor would tell me that that's not a thing, but it is for me. I sat there and I told myself, no, focus back. No, bring your eyes back. Come on, you got this. You're okay. And I talked to myself. That song I wrote is not a joke. I talk to myself a lot. I stopped it, and then I stood up. And I turned around, and there was Laura standing there with that sprayer thing ready to go. She wanted to see that thing work, I think. But at the same time, we were scared. I wish it was possible to talk myself out of it every time. It's not, though. Had that proven 3 times in the last week. That's more than ever. I've never had that many seizures.
I've had that many in a day.
I've had that many in a day, but not over a week's time. Usually it's like I have a couple and then I don't have any for a while.
Brain kind of like resets and then you like are good for like a few months.
Yeah, I'm good for a while. I'm not good. And so we're scared. I got 2 children. I got a family. Luckily, they have things now that help, and Laura's really good at noticing too. Like you see the precursors for the petites and grands. She recognizes them pretty quickly now. We've been together for 15 years. She was the first one to ever see a seizure. Up until that point, every time I had one, and now in hindsight, I know I was having them, but I just thought I was having a hangover or something.
I thought you just had like some sort of tick.
Yeah.
Like when you'd be like mashing your jaw and stuff. Because I didn't know that was a type of seizure.
Yeah, I didn't know. We didn't know I mashed my jaw. I didn't know that was a seizure. I had no idea. Just thought it was a tick. One of my ticks. I got a lot of them. And they go all day. All day.
It's almost like ignorance is bliss.
It really was. When we had no clue and I could just pretend it wasn't happening, I just went about my life. And it's no longer a possibility. I really want to help people. I really want people to understand that I care. Truly. And I'm not trying to do this to be nosy or I go into these groups and I hear the stories and I wish that I could be there to give people hugs, to comfort people. Not everybody has somebody, especially. I've been lucky. I've got my wife. I've got my 2 kids. I've got my family. Not everybody has that. But everybody deserves that. I might not be here to give advice, but I'm just a guy that people love talking to. My wife's from Los Angeles. I'm from a small town in Pennsylvania. We go out in public and I talk to everybody. Just have random conversations with other random weirdos. I learn about people's life stories that I've never even met. And something about that brings me comfort. Knowing that somebody else gets to feel that. Not enough love in this world. Plenty of hate. Plenty of hate. The last few days I've been on a binge of
cynicism.
cynicism and pink. All it took was for one person to say one thing to me. One homophobic thing in one of my videos, on one of the comments. And I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. So I've been going hard in the paint. Because no matter who you are, your culture, your background, who you love, everybody deserves the same respect, the same care. I want to help. So I hope this grows. I really hope this grows. I really hope we can help some people. I really want other people to join in, be a part of it. Not just somebody who watches. I want other people to come and just be part of. I'm Drizzle Stank. And what do you know? You're not alone. Now, the plan is always to start with one particular song. And we kind of forgot it at the beginning. So I'd like to end with it. Allow me to pull this up. Oh, okay. Well, that was easy. Oh, okay. So you just... So it pulled it right up. Oh, cool. All right. Well, I hope everybody gets something from this. And if you know somebody that could maybe use this information, pass it along. If you know somebody that might need to talk, send them my way.
You can just in the chat.
I'm here. And I care. What do you know? Not alone.
Is it worth it? The choices I made, are they worth it? I look at the path I chose. Were there alternate roads? Many, but this is where I'm at. So I smile big with my backwards hat. Now it's time to decide, was it worth it? Damn, was it worth it? The lane I've taken, the minds I've encountered, the beauty I've seen in a world full of tribulation. The grass is still green. While I wait for the next step, I avoid falling in line. Find my own path, not one of design. Makes things more complicated. So when I ask myself, was it worth it? I couldn't even imagine better. What it seems, I'll stand tall for my goals and dreams. When the hard times come, there will be many. I'll just proceed with constructive deeds. Stay above the banter. To say this was worth it? Hell yeah, it was worth it. Life is beautiful, so choose the right path. Set some goals to surpass the strife. Are you worth it? Please believe so. Search for happiness wherever you go. Love is around, easily found. Having trouble with your find? Here, have some of mine. It's a long day, just set some goals.
Thank you, everybody. Hit that like button on your way out.